Well, yeah, because we're going to talk about Tommy Robinson now, so this will probably run over by a few minutes. As you guys know, Tommy Robinson was released from prison on bail yesterday. And, what's up, Graham?
It's just
a vision.
It's just there's so much noise tonight. I keep thinking there's a fan on somewhere.
It's probably the laptop.
No, it's on him though.
There's no fan. Could be that. It's not doing much. Yeah, Tommy Robinson was released on bail following his appeal of the last sentence they got in Leeds. It was deemed that it was just the judge concerned had fucked it all up. It was carried out with utmost haste. And remember at the time when we said there was that odd thing where his solicitor was told, no, it's fine, he's going to be let go. Unseemly haste. So they decided that was an unsafe conviction and sentence and everything else. So he was released from prison. And, of course, there was an outpouring of grief from the left and jubilation from the right. There he is coming out. We're going to talk about the condition of Tommy soon. But there's a few things to deal with here. So those on the left are like, no, bang him back up. He's a racist and a monster and everything else. Those on the right were, he's free! We've won! A victory! Neither of those things is really applicable here. He's on bail because he is going to be retried or have another hearing at the Old Bailey in front of a different judge. Now, nobody knows how that goes. I have a suspicion, because he did allegedly admit in the appeal hearing that he broke reporting conditions on that case. Whatever, you guys have all made your mind up about that. And I think he could well be sent down again. Now, someone mentioned time served to me, but he was already on a 3-month suspended sentence. So I think it's possible he could be sent down. And that's tricky, because if he is guilty of that and he's found guilty in a fair and proper hearing, that's the way the cookie crumbles, okay? But at the same time, aren't they going to make a lot of trouble for themselves by banging him up on a long sentence? And it has been pointed out in the appeal papers that it could end up being a longer sentence, feasibly. I think it unlikely, but feasibly, he could be sentenced to even more time inside. Now, it's impossible to look at this reasonably, logically, at all, because Tommy is now positioned as battling the paedophiles, exposing, which he didn't expose anybody in that court case, apart from in the most literal sense of filming the guys going into court and engaging them. But he didn't expose them. They were already in court. They were already, looking, they were waiting for sentencing on that trial before the next trial sentence the next lot, this grooming gang. And whether you think of Tommy, of what work he's done, I've made it clear my thoughts on Tommy, even when I spoke to him, that I think if his mission is genuinely just anti-extremism, I think he possibly does that more harm than good in real terms. But he's a fantastic dog whistle for the more right people, including the people that are just genuinely concerned about Islamic extremism, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to be concerned about. I don't care what any fucker says to me about that making me a racist. It's a concern. They're killing people. The Manchester bomber was rescued by the Royal fucking Navy. The sea off Libya. We rescued that motherfucker and brought him home, and he killed our kids for it. So there is a fucking problem. But Tommy, for whatever reason, is a dog whistle to some very extreme types who, they're just fucking vermin. And he is selective about which paedophiles he will expose, but do you know what? I don't think that's because he supports paedophilia. He's got his, let's assume the best, he's got his focus, and he'll assume everyone else is taking care of everything else. He's got his thing. But that's by the by in this one, because there's a flip side to this. It sounds like I have no interest in Tommy, or I'd like him banged up, and it's not really the case. If he's guilty in a fair trial and he is sentenced, then so be it. I'm sure he'll appeal again and probably get it worked down a little, I would have thought. I'm not embarrassed, though. But there's another side to this, which some despicable people on the left were celebrating. Look at Tommy Robinson there. Now, I keep pointing, because I'm used to pointing at this side. He's over there now, isn't he? Tattoo arm to point at the pictures. Tattoo arm to point at the pictures. Now look at him there. He's lost a considerable amount of weight. Now, I don't know Tommy. And do you know what? The vibe I got off him when we spoke to him on the Live Leak show, and when I was messaging him before that, after we had a disagreement, because I had to admit I was wrong. I accused him of something there was no evidence he'd done. Regardless of political differences, I got the opinion if he was in the same room as you, in a pub and all that, he'd be alright to pass the time with in a laddish kind of way. If you didn't know about his history and all these other things, whatever. I think he's an alright guy. He's got a lot of things I don't agree with, but there you go. But the left was celebrating the fact, I mean, look how thin he is. Do you know what happened in prison? He was in one prison, which had something like a 5% Muslim population. They moved him to one that had a massive Muslim population. So he had to go into solitary confinement straight away. Which means, I think that means you're locked up for 23.5 hours a day. You get half an hour in a little caged yard, and then you're back into your cell. Now, they may say that's fine. Okay, well, whatever. I'm sure they had wonderful reasons for putting him in that position. But also, his meals were being prepared and served by Muslim people who had said to him, "How was your dinner, Tommy?" He said that in an interview. I can't verify that, but the guys in prison aren't in there because they're good guys, so it's fair to say that the Muslim guys in prison want to kill him. We've seen it before. He's been attacked before. So he was forced to spend his limited spending money each week on 5 or 6 cans of tuna and some fruit. And for a couple of months, the guy lived off that because he couldn't trust the food he was eating. Now, regardless of your thoughts on Tommy Robinson, regardless, or my thoughts on Tommy Robinson and his guilt and anything else, because as I've said, if he's guilty, he has to go down. He's already on a suspended sentence. That's the way it works. But whoever we lock up, and if you're a liberal, who many people on the left believe they are, you have to fucking believe this. Whether it's a shoplifter, a racist, a bigot, or a fucking paedophile, you have a debt of care to your prisoner. The punishment is, Graham finds the word paedophile very amusing. The punishment is you have your freedom taken off you. You have taken off you the ability to fucking decide anything for yourself. That is your punishment in going to prison. Not for you to be terrorized. So if you're celebrating a man being in prison and then suffering in prison, and you can't say it's right because he's a racist so he deserves it. Those guys in there, the Muslim guys in there, aren't in prison because they like it. They're not in prison because it's a holiday. They're in there for being fucking criminals too. And probably for something worse than contempt of court. We have a debt of care to our prisoners. And regardless of who the fuck he is or what he stands for or anything else, that amounts to a human rights abuse. What happened to him? Now someone will give me a comparison. What was worse for this one? If the guy's frightened to eat, has to subsist on so few calories a day, knows that his life is in threat, and if he eats that food, he could be poisoned, he could have spat in it, shat in it, anything, put ground up glass in there, which is a popular thing that happened to Ian Brady, ballooned up. Don't know why I put that part in there, but it's what happens. We have a debt of care to our prisoners. And what the fucking stupid arseholes who put him in this position don't realise is, not only are you hurting the man physically, you have strengthened his position tenfold. He is now not just that, yeah, good lad, that solid bloke, good fucking hell, says it is, good fella. He's a fucking hero now. Okay? To the right, he's a real fucking hero and a figurehead. Whatever comes up now, he's going to be at the front of that. And you know what? It's not Tommy Robinson that's done it. It's not the Muslim paedophiles that have done it. It's you fuckers that think he should be locked up and punished and suffer beyond the pale. We always create our own monsters. And by vilifying him and demonising him ridiculously to the point that he couldn't even be on TV without just being screamed down as a racist instantly, you've created that. And what else can he do now apart from ride this wave? What can he do? He's going to need protecting for his entire life, as we spoke about earlier. He can't go and get a fucking job down at B&Q, can he? No, we create our own monsters, and whatever comes next with Tommy and whatever he's at the front of, and I'm going to imagine it's going to be something a little more popular than the EDL. I'm going to imagine he's going to be held up as quite a figurehead for a lot of people that we might not really be over the moon with. And that's just going to then further embolden the other side and the fucking Muslim extremists and fucking everybody else. Because no one can keep the cock in the pants at any point and go, do you know what, let's think of the long game here. You know? Imagine if it had just been handled properly, the trial, and openly and fairly, and he'd received the correct sentence, and was then treated as a human being in prison. Yes, a prisoner, no freedom, no ability to decide, but not terrified for his fucking life and starving for 2 months. And he's lost serious fucking weight. You know, he's not been on a diet, he's eating fucking tuna and a banana. So those are my thoughts on the Tommy Robinson situation. I think this has just made everything so much fucking worse for all sides. For all fucking sides. And for the man himself. Whether you think he deserves it or not is up to you. But if you call yourself a liberal, you can't support what happened to him inside. Because I can't. Because that's not how it's supposed to be. Liberal values do not include essentially torturing people. They just fucking don't. I got a feeling you're more of a leftist than a liberal. And there appears to be a massive difference. Because it appears to be the further left you go now, the more authoritarian you become. Remarkably similar to the chaps on the other side. I guess it's that horseshoe shit, isn't it? That's how it works. So that's where I stand on Tommy Robinson. I think the guy's been pretty heavily fucked. I believe to some degree he's been the architect of his own downfall. But fuck me, did the authorities really have to play along like this? Because now it can only be framed as Tommy is being attacked for exposing Muslim paedophiles. Regardless of the truth, regardless of the actuality, regardless of anything else, that's the only way it can be framed. So if you criticise him at all, you are then instantly, in the way that fucking the world works now, a supporter of Islamic paedophiles. Doesn't matter if you'd like to see the knackers slap between 2 bricks. Doesn't matter. Because you don't support him. But the thing is, I don't support any kind of fucking paedophile, but I don't really support Tommy Robinson either. But I tell you something, fucking hundreds of thousands more people, possibly millions around the world, will do from now on. And after that old Bailey fucking hearing, that's a lose-lose. You know? For one side or the other, it's a fucking lose-lose right there. So yeah, let us know your thoughts live at TriggerWarning.tv, at TriggeredTV on the Twitter, and of course on Facebook or in Troll Central or anything like that. Let me know what you think. Have we...